Atmosfera.
In their camp and doing their cheeky breaky stuff, and then they saw that something happened, a wall was destroyed.
We finally got it. We finally got the deep dive, the extended gameplay, the one thing we've been anxious to see for so long. And what can I say? It's almost like Stalker 2 is shaping up to be just like we've been saying on this channel since the very beginning.
But I love the zone because it represents the power of freedom. And with great power comes a great duty to find oneself.
Because it's about freedom. To give that feeling of freedom.
We'll have like a lot of consequences of the player actions and the player decisions. So
You can find everything here, Scythian. Even yourself.
And that's not because I'm a genius. I may know a lot, but I'm still a dummy. It's because this is exactly what a sequel to the original Stalker games was always supposed to be. Not Metro, not Call of Duty, not Tarkov, not Far Cry, but Stalker. And GSC's Stalker at that. A sequel lovingly made by people who authored and loved the original games just like you and me. And that's what the deep dive was all about. Bringing us closer to the people who are bringing us this game at last. I enjoyed the presentation thoroughly, and all the itching questions about how this game will be faithful to its identity while also modernizing the experience were answered pretty satisfactorily.
While working on Stalker 2, we constantly had to look back at that success laid by the developers of the first part, because we cannot do less.
Let's start with the shooting. A massive improvement over the original trilogy, which had one of the best ballistic systems in games to this day. But it was held back slightly by the fact that the look, sound, and therefore feel of the gunfighting wasn't up to par with contemporary games. Even if the mechanics of the gunfighting below the surface were actually far superior in the technical sense. Say what you will about Call of Duty, but even when they had a primitive hit scan system for shooting, they managed to get the feel right. And today's Call of Duty games mostly offer very correct feeling guns too. There's a kinetic energy to gunfighting in those games that really makes them work. I think it's a big shame that a lot of it gets diluted by the mostly arcadey gameplay in multiplayer and zombies, but it really shines in the campaigns, especially with hit markers off. And the reason I bring this up is because that correct, kinetic feel found in the Call of Duty games was absolutely present in the Stalker 2 gameplay showcase. Both the outgoing and incoming gunfire had very violent energy. I'm really looking forward to the gunfighting in Stalker 2. The guns look very correct, very grounded, and they sound so good. The ballistics look so good. I'm just thrilled to hear from the devs that there's also a lot of variety incoming, and we have so much to see still, and the gunfighting in this game is looking so good, and I just can't wait to see more or try it at last. Another thing I'm looking forward to, of course, that was brought up but not necessarily shown, is the size of the world and the emphasis on freedom. That was thoroughly emphasized. The open-endedness of the storyline that you get to create in each playthrough. The emphasis on AI, on A-Life. These are all things that we expect from Stalker, and I was very happy to see that the devs were doubling down on these traits of the game.
But what if he does this then? And what if he kills this one? There are tens of thousands of possibilities.
The thousands of possible outcomes to decisions that you make, the consequences of your actions and inaction, not just dialogue options, but actually the things you do, they gave me hints of Alpha Protocol, a game that was almost fully centered on the open-endedness of its storyline. Unfortunately, that game wasn't as good in its other gameplay mechanics, and that's why it's not very well known today. But going through the story and having the game adapt itself to your very decision is a true feat. It's an incredible achievement, and I'm almost in disbelief that we'll get to experience that in Stalker 2 from what the devs have said. I can't wait. That sounds massive, and it's gonna give a lot of replay value to the experience. But one of the more simple things that got me really excited was that progression is natural and intuitive, equipment-based. You get better by getting better at the game. Not leveling up, not skill trees, just plain getting good, which I love, and getting good gear. Every minute that isn't spent navigating a skill tree menu or a leveling menu or reading perk descriptions is a minute that is spent connecting with the game world and exploring new weapons and armor and locations and characters. And so many games incorporate these systems when they really don't have to, and a lot of the time it feels like bloat to me, so I guess I'm more relieved. The emotion came from relief more than excitement. I'm more relieved than excited to hear this about Heart of Chornobyl, and it's just really good to know that all the time that the game has taken to develop, the delays, it's all energy and time that has gone into the more tangible aspects of the game, which is what I enjoy experiencing the most. And this is possibly the most anticipated game of the year. It certainly is for me. And it's a really good sign that the feedback from Gamescom is really good. It sounds like people who played the demo at Gamescom did so on an Xbox Series X developer kit, and if so, it looks like mouse and keyboard support is confirmed for the console, but most importantly, we're getting really good performance numbers on that console too. As per John Linneman, not only does it look great, but it runs great at 60 FPS as well. So promising. Expectations are high, and I think that the vast majority of us want to see this game succeed, as well as blow us away. This community is so special. There's a lot to be excited about, and we'll experience it together come November 20th. Thank you so much to the CIA for funding this channel. You guys are awesome, and I will see you all whenever I feel like making a video again, which is already, so that'll be soon. Cheers, guys.